Welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone, on this fine end of January morning, where we're kind of in the same place we were on the first morning of January when it comes to transfers for the Swans. Well, we're not quite in the same place. There's been a couple of bits of things that have happened, a little bit of action, but nothing necessarily positive, unfortunately. But we're getting to discuss all that today. We've only got one game to discuss, obviously, with the match against Stoke being postponed, I believe, because of FA Cup round.
Yeah.
So they're still in the FA Cup. So yeah, no game for the Swans this week. Next game is next Saturday against Birmingham, I want to say. So we're going to revisit the QPR 1-1 draw briefly. I think there's an awful load to say about it. There's a couple of talking points, injury. A few things to say. But Lee, how have you been this week anyway? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a bit of a quiet week, really. Just not much going on. Just working, and that's it, really. The NFL season's coming to the end, so I'm a bit excited about that because I'm addicted to it at the moment.
Who's going to win?
I think that the Chiefs might win it, but I really want the Bengals to win it. I'd love it if the Bengals won the Super Bowl this year. Because
I don't know what any of that means. I'm not going to lie.
I really like them at the moment.
We sell their tops in work, so that's.
It's getting. No, this is where it's get to the business end now. So you essentially got the semi-finals this weekend, and then the Super Bowl's in 2 weeks. Then, so there's lots of stuff going on in the moment.
That's an all-nighter, is it?
Oh yeah. No, well, Super Bowl. I book the Monday off work every year.
Where's that this year?
It's in Arizona this year.
Not in Tottenham.
No. The Super Bowl's like the main final at the end of the season.
What do they normally take to Tottenham? Just a match?
They just have like a regular season game. They just take. But yeah, if they did the Super Bowl in Tottenham, that'd be class. But I don't think we'll ever get
there. Fair enough. Yeah, I just realised as well. I introduced you, obviously, Lee's joining me. I never actually introduced myself for people listening on Spotify, so I don't know if anyone knows my name. Obviously, yeah. So I'm Luke, obviously doing Swans Cast with Lee here. Sometimes we get other guests in. We haven't had one for a while. We'll have to shape up with that, see who wants to come and have a chat. But as always, if you do enjoy what we're talking about when we waffle in about the Swans, we do try and talk about what's currently going on, any talking points, anything on the pitch, anything off the pitch. And sometimes other conversations that aren't necessarily linked to Swans. It could be football, it could be other things that just come up in conversation sometimes. But yeah, if you enjoy hearing us ramble about that stuff, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Should be under Lee's beautiful face on the right-hand side of your screen, or on your mobile, big red button somewhere under the video. So click that. I think you just sign in with your Google account if you've got one on YouTube, and off you go. And we're very grateful for everyone who has subscribed so far, and for all the people that continue to support the video and the podcasts on Spotify. Anyway, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Just going back though, I tell you what I did yesterday, which I enjoyed, which I haven't done for years. I went down St Helens to watch Swansea rugby yesterday. That was good. Just for a good day out. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. No, they got hammered by Merthyr, but it was a good game. I went a couple of months ago, but it's good if the Swans are like away or like there's an FA Cup break. I always like to go down there and watch a bit of local rugby. That was a good day out. Cheap beer.
Cheap beer, how much?
I paid £3 for a Guinness.
That's competitive with spoons, that is.
Yeah, it's tidy.
Decent. Good day out. Okay, so start with QPR. So Swansea went away to QPR last weekend and got a 1-0 draw. So it's an away point at the end of the day, isn't it? It's not the end of the world. QPR have been really bad they were really good at the start of the season and they were pushing up the top end of the table, but they have literally had 2 wins in about 15 games or something. Let me count. 1 in 8. Hang on, that one's a friendly as well. So 1 win in 14 games.
Bloody hell. Well, that was before going into the Swans game.
Yeah. So like it's a draw, isn't it? It's not a loss. But they've had a few draws in there, especially recently. They had a bunch of losses. They got the win and they've had a couple of draws, 1 or 2 losses. But so they've started picking up. But I'm just saying they haven't won in they had 1 win in whatever I just said it was.
14.
How many games? Yeah, 14 games. That's ridiculous. One, I mean, to be fair, that includes an FA Cup loss to Fleetwood Town as well. So
yeah.
So yeah, if it was at home, be a bit more frustrating. But I guess a point away, it was opportunity. Don't get me wrong, but you watched the whole match, and the first thing you said to me was, "It was a good point because we were really bad."
Yeah, I think so. I think like the problem was because we played well in the last 10 minutes. I think like Fulton scores on like the 80th minute, I think it was, and then the last 10 minutes. On another day, we might have nicked it because the goal sort of spurred us on. Last 10 minutes made it interesting. I think people came away from the game thinking, oh, we could have won that game, but I think the previous 80 minutes were absolutely horrendous.
But how many times has that happened on the flip side, like earlier in the season, especially?
Oh,
where
yeah.
teams scored all them last-minute goals and won it in the last 10 minutes, if you like. So, we still
Yeah,
have
no,
that.
it does. Yeah, no, it does. But I mean, like, and again, I'm not knocking it because I always say, always, forever, always take a point on the road. Always take a point away from home, whoever it is. But I don't know. I think like that draw kind of papered over a lot of cracks because I just think we were so poor in that game. It was just like we did have the Fulton goal was our first shot on target at 80th minute, and it went in. I would have been absolutely crying if I was a QPR fan because we literally didn't threaten the goalkeeper whatsoever the whole game, and that was our first shot on target. And that sort of summed up the game again. It's just like I don't know what's going on at the moment because I can't say that we're awful, but when you watch the games, you just think it's so boring. Like there's nothing direct.
I think it's a trend, to be honest.
It is a trend.
That's been for a couple of years now. We seem to play poor when there's a transfer window.
Yeah, no, I was going to come on to that. I don't know whether it's what's going on outside or rumors and what's going on, and we don't know the ins and outs. And I think it is having an effect on the pitch. Because we said in the last video, I think like beginning of the season we started slow, and then we always play well in that September, October window where we tend to play Cardiff, and like that we always play well there, and then we sort of dip a little bit in December, and then January's not good, and then maybe we pick up again sort of March, April time before the end of the season. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think the transfer window does have an effect on us on the pitch, and I think that's probably what's happening.
And also not just from the ins and outs, but I think he's very limited with what you can actually change on the pitch at the moment.
Like, he is.
You're saying if it's stale, we're looking like we're a bit. It's just looking a bit stale on the pitch. Stale is probably a good word. I was going to try and think of another one, but
no,
what I mean is like you got the same team on there. It's quite samey. The team knows how to play against it. There's nothing like no drive there. Not drive. That's the wrong word. I can't think of the way to put it. But you know what I mean. Like you can't okay. So Alan, maybe you've had a couple of poor games. Who we're going to bring in instead, like Cham. I just look at the bench and Cundle perhaps is one of them. The one that perhaps would start, but Cundle and Cham probably the only two there and that you'd think about rotating in. But then you'd argue you're making the team worse. So there's not what can he do really? Like what can he do?
No, I think like I'm sympathising with him a bit more now because I'm just looking at that team and I just think like he can't he can't really change it. Like you just said, you're looking at the bench and you just think, what else can he do? I do sympathize. I was, a bit. I do get frustrated with him at times. Obviously, tactically, whatever. Sometimes I think you can do it differently. But then I don't know if you've seen it, but that video that came out on the coach's voice, I think it is, where he explains the tactics. It's really good. It's about a half-hour watch. Really, really good. You should
against Cardiff, the 4-0 was it?
Yeah, and he does the tactics of the 4-0 win against Cardiff, and I just think there's so much detail that goes into what he's trying to do, and then when he's explaining it, you think, yeah, fair enough. Like his philosophy is brilliant. Obviously, it's not going to come off all the time, but you can see what he's trying to do, and I just think he's about 2 or 3 players short of that being. Because when I listened to what he was talking about, you listen to how many times he mentions Matt Grimes in that, so he's integral to everything that they do going forward and going backwards. The stuff that he does off the ball, that's what stood out. The amount he mentions Matt Grimes. So I think if he's ever to go, then God help us.
We've said this for a while, haven't we? If he gets injured, like a season-ending injury, we're free falling down the table.
But I know. But also, from that game, the amount he also talks about like Flynn Downs and Christie and Wolf, 3 players who are no longer here, and I think they've been a massive miss that they haven't replaced them. I think that's been the key this season.
I think, arguably for me, I think Downs is the one that is missed the least. I think
yeah, no, that's fair.
I think Felton's done a good job of stepping up to that, what he was offering. And you got Allen as well, haven't you? But I think it's no one else after those 3, and they're all on the pitch. It's the wing backs that I think stand out, because that's where we used to get all of our opportunities from.
And also, like you mentioned, how well that like Patterson and Perot were playing with Obafemi up top. Now we haven't got Patterson and Obafemi either, and you can argue that we haven't had them all season really, apart from flashes. And Perot has not been the same player than last year. So you're talking about the change from like then to now. So his philosophy. Well, it is part of it, because you can.
Part of Perot's woes. I mean, like the fact that they are not there.
Yeah, no, I think it is, and I think like if you look at what he's trying to do, and I think it's brilliant, and I think it's when it comes off, we've seen it when it comes off, it works. But for whatever reason, like Obafemi and Patterson off the pitch, not replacing the 2 full backs. I just think it's just then that's why we're in this position, because you're right, we're just so stale with the players that we've got. I'm at loss, because I look at it and I just think, what can we do? And I don't want to be. I don't want to throw this in as well. This might be a bit controversial, but I just think, like Joe Allen, I don't know. I think he's a great player, obviously, but I think he should start on the bench.
I just don't think you can't have the 3 of them there.
No, you can't have the 3 of them there, and I think it's just like time that Joe Allen doesn't start every game.
Yeah,
because I think he gives you 60 minutes.
You can come on 50, 60 minutes and control the rest of the game, can you?
That's what I'm saying. Go like 2 in midfield and go attacking, and go and take control of the game, win the game. And who better to bring on than someone like Joe Allen to close the game out? He tackles everything that moves, and then he's so calm on the ball. I just think it's a little bit like we're carrying him a little bit when he can only play 60 minutes.
Yeah, and I think the problem is maybe he doesn't trust like Cham now to start a game. Like he's had enough chances, don't trust him. Cundle, he's young, so as much as he might not always choose to start Cundle, there's a little bit more understanding there, or Congreve in it. So like you're like, oh well, Alan, like I know he's gonna be secure for 60, 70 minutes, and the problem is they've got to bring one of them on then, and then if you're fighting at that point of the game, it just makes it a lot tougher, doesn't it? To be fair, Cundle came on in this one and got an assist, and then Cham had the disallowed goal. But normally, that is not the case, and usually we fall apart when the subs are made in that time. From what I've seen the last couple of weeks, watching a couple of games, it's been a common theme.
Yeah.
When the midfield starts to tire, you've got 3 of them important. Felton and Grimes, they do quite a good job of playing 90 minutes, but there's 3 of them doing that system. When Alan specifically starts going, you've got 2 people doing a 3-man job, and the one that's coming on isn't doing that same job.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually the other team started coming into the game by then, so it's a different ball game already. So
and then when you lose that man in midfield, then you tend to lose control of the game, don't you? When we lose the 3rd man in midfield, the prime example was the Burnley game, wasn't it? Because when like Joe Allen went off, and Bristol, when Joe Allen had to go off, which says how good he is. I'm not like obviously knocking him as a player. I just mean for his age now and his like fitness record.
How we get the best out of him.
Yeah, how do that performance on him? Because that game he played against Burnley in the first half was one of the best performances I've seen in a Swans shirt. He was brilliant. And you're talking about the best team in the league. He was excellent. But then when we had to take him off in the second half, and I think he took Fulton off as well, because I think he was probably tired. The game completely went because we had nothing in midfield, and they completely overrun us in midfield.
Cundle and Cham come on, and they just they do not do the same job. Cundle's learning, and he's more of an attacker, and Cham's and Cham, and so like you're just losing that quality. You have 3 quality midfielders, and that's what I'm saying all the time. Like, yeah, they are our best 3 midfielders, but that's why I don't know if we can start them every game, because who do you bring on when you've got to change something?
Yeah,
you're punting on going for all these attackers and hoping for the best, and I think that works 1 in 5, 1 in 6 times.
Yeah, but I think
the other team's on top.
But again, I think you're spot on by saying it's gone stale. I think that's part of it. It's just that maybe he thinks, well, I'll just start with my my best players on the pitch, and is one way to go. Just think, right, I'll start with my best players on the pitch. We'll try and win the game before that, and then. But then you're right, like you haven't got someone to come on then to replace one of them three. You've got to bring on a Cundlin and Cham, who are both sort of more forward-thinking players. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult at the moment, but how do we solve it? I can't blame Russell Martin. I can't blame Joel. I can't blame anyone. And you can't blame anyone for getting anything wrong. It's just the only thing is just the transfer window, and it's just really concerning at the moment.
We'll get on to the transfer window later because that's a big conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's just tricky in it because I think the team is fine. The players all there probably all deserve to be first team players. It's just sometimes you have to mix it up. Or like Perot is not. He's not the same as he was last year, but there's no one else to replace him. Like
no, exactly.
You're having a bad time. Come up the team for a bit. All right, who's going to go in? Like Cullen's already starting. He's already on the pitch.
Yeah.
And Cullen's only there really because Obafemi decided to throw his toys out of the pram.
Yeah.
And he was at the start of the season, come back a little bit, but like, was he really fully there? I'm going to say he probably wasn't now after seeing January. Maybe we all got flattered to deceive, but the little dancey dance he was doing in West Brom.
Yeah, I know.
Rubbish, isn't it? So
I think going back to that now.
I have no idea what's going on with him. I think he's just done with football. I think he just wants paycheck, move back home, innit?
Probably, yeah.
Post his little videos on Instagram or like pictures of him being on holiday. Wasn't he in that one where they announced Torinola?
I don't know.
The Love Island one. Was he in that? The little Love
Island
I have no
idea.
Reveal thing. Speaking of reveal trailers, have you seen the one that Burnley did for their striker the other day?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet. What was it?
You know Shrek?
Yeah.
Do you know the first one where like they got that Lord Farquhar and he's like got the magic mirror and he's asking what princess? They've done that with like strikers, yeah. So they had like Messi, Ronaldo, and then this guy they signed, and they just changed it all to suit that narrative. It's quite funny, to be fair.
Oh dear.
It was quite good. Like fair play to the social media team. That's good.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, going back to the QPR game. Jamal Lowe scored as a former player. It's been the first one in a while, to be fair. Been quite a few that haven't recently. It hasn't been.
Yeah, I know. Much. I had that in my bet builder though, Low anytime, so that was.
Did you win your bet?
No, I think I did. I did Swans. I did Swans win. Swans win.
You don't want to do that. You want to do both teams to score for the Swans at the moment. Bet tip for everyone. Bet tip for everyone. Both teams to score for Swansea is the bet, right? Because other than the Watford game, because Watford didn't score, I think that's the only game in the last 8 matches that bet wouldn't have come in.
Yeah.
Or then if you're thinking it's a risk, over 1.5 is pretty much a guarantee, and over 2.5 is about 75% chance.
Yeah, I think that's what I did in my bet though. I did over 1.5.
Here's your bet tips for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I did over 1.5.
We're not getting any clean sheets lately, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is another problem as well. I think the back 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, I think there's a lot of mistakes creeping in. Seems to be a lot of disjointed at the moment. Still not a set back 3, is it? Not consistently selection every week.
No.
And Latboard, yeah. I didn't say anything more on that. I think we've covered that quite a lot. But that's still an issue for me.
They did put a bid in for some guy from Exeter City, didn't they? Right back, Josh Key, got rejected.
Yeah, not like we've needed a right back since the summer.
Wait
now, 2 days left to the window. Yeah. 2 days left of the window.
Yeah, but I mean, I heard they offered him 50p in a packet of crisps. Walker salt and vinegar, I thought, but they wanted prawn cocktails. So
yeah, sounds about right.
I mean, this guy was worth. Someone bid for him more than 1 million in June 2021, and that got rejected. So I'm not convinced we're going to get him.
No, not especially.
I don't know how much we've bid.
Not especially with the way that the Obafemi transfer has gone through, but we'll come on to that later.
Yeah. So anyway, Jamal Lowe scored. Good finish from him, but he should not have had the time or space to do that, really.
No.
A bit of bad defending from Cabango from ball into the box, falls to Jamal Lowe's feet, and then Darlin should do better, I think, to stop the shot coming in.
Yeah. I mean, that's a theme as well. It's just like, we just seem so disjointed sometimes when teams run at us. There's always a mistake in us. There's always I remember the Coventry game before, or was it just after or just before Christmas? We drew 3-3 and we come back. But that first 50 minutes, that back three were absolutely all over the place.
Christmas.
Yeah, that back three were absolutely all over the place, like everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. And then it just seems to have been a bit of a recurring theme since then. Like you said, both teams have scored. We never keep clean sheets.
No.
And with the amount of possession we have as well, it's just like, that's why we need possession, because it just seems like when teams get the ball off us and start running at our back three, we're all over the shop.
Is it time for Norton to come back into centre back? He's had a bit of a rest.
Maybe.
Yeah, you need to move on, don't you? Like, the reason he got pulled out is because I think age was catching up to him more than his ability.
But it made sense, again, on that video with Russell Martin. It made sense because he played Norton middle centre back a lot, and Flynn Downs' role was to sit with him and win the aerial battles, because obviously Norton's not very tall.
Yeah.
So they would sort of double up on a taller striker like Kiefer Moore, for example. And that worked really well. So obviously that's a little bit different. I know like Fulton's come in, but maybe obviously does a little bit of a different role. Like Downs was very, very deep, wasn't he, when he played? So it's just like little things like that have just not worked out this season for whatever reason. Like, I think just not replacing players.
Yeah,
I just think that's part of it. But the defense, it's not good enough for the moment.
In our team right now, who actually is left that got brought in the summer? Is it just Wood and Darlin and Allen?
Yeah.
Because obviously all the loans are basically gone, and Candle was on the bench. And Sorinola was on the bench.
Sorinola, yeah, he was on the bench.
But he's Candle. Like, the fact that they're there and not challenging the first team is a problem. I know they brought in to do a certain job, but they haven't been good enough to get a place and stay in the first team, so they haven't made us better. Bear in mind, Sorinola specifically, I understand Candle a bit more because he's probably up against some good competition in his role, and Ollie Cooper's coming through as being, one of the highlights of the season. But Sorinola can't challenge right back against the centre back Latabodia, who wasn't even hardly playing last year for us until the end of the season.
It doesn't say a lot, does it? Well, the same with Stevens from Brentford, wasn't it? If he couldn't get a look in a right back, like, what's going on there?
It's ridiculous. So, they have not made us stronger, really. Ogo Flex, bit of pace, but I know everyone loved his a little bit of pace and trickery, but he obviously wasn't shown enough.
Yeah.
I don't think he registered an assist while he was here.
I don't know. It felt like he didn't really get a good run enough in the team, but then
he probably didn't. But Martin said something about his attitude, didn't he? So then,
well, obviously what goes on behind the scenes, we don't know. But if that's the case, then I think then you can't argue with that. But yeah, like, the lone players have not worked this season.
Anyway, so Jamal Lowe, he scores. We will finish this game. The main key event that happens after that, I think, is perhaps another talking point. So Bender has done something to his knee.
Yeah.
Jumped to sort of save a ball that was just tipping over the crossbar. I don't think he actually saves it. And as he lands, he jars his knee, basically. So he's looking on a bit of a time out now. Obviously, Fisher had to step in. Who goes on the bench now then? Who's the third choice keeper?
Is it?
I read some games early in the season where we had someone.
Did I read that they recalled? Was it Lewis Webb from his loan? I think. I don't know if that's true. I have to double check that, but I'm sure they recalled someone.
Let's have a look.
Otherwise, we got another goalkeeper. I think it's Archie. Is it? He's a young goalkeeper.
Archer.
So there'll be Archer.
Archer.
Yeah, there'll be a young goalkeeper on the bench.
Yeah. No, I know there'll be someone from the youth. I was just curious who that is.
Unless, well, it's not going to happen. But unless they go out and get like someone like Hamer back on loan.
Hamer. Don't think he's going to want to come back, is he?
No.
Archie Matthews, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
He's been on the bench earlier in the season.
There we go.
Against Oxford. What was our first game this year? Rotherham,
yeah.
Bender was there then. Yeah, Archie Matthews was on the bench for Oxford, so maybe it'd be him that comes in.
There we go. Big miss though, because I think Bender's, since he's come back into the team, I think he's done really well. I think he had people slating him because he did have a bit of he made a mistake against Burnley, didn't he? And what was the game after that? Maybe the Bristol City game in the cup. Maybe could have done better. And he started having a bit of criticism, but apart from that, I think he's been brilliant since he come back in. So I think it's a big miss.
It's been solid, yeah.
Yeah.
And he is only 24 for a goalkeeper. That's quite young.
Yeah. He's made some unbelievable saves. There was one against Bristol City where he saves it from point blank. He makes himself massive, and it's a brilliant save.
Yeah.
So I think he's been excellent since. And remember when he started last season when Martin first came in, and he was just absolutely all over the place, and he was just rushing out like a sweeper keeper and doing and trying to take strikers on. And,
the nerves and excitement of perhaps Martin's new style. He's getting a couple of these mess. We wanted to be sweeper keeper and play this pass in football, and that's kind of maybe he understands it a bit more this time round.
Oh yeah, now that he's come back in, he's been great.
That loaner, Peterborough, whatever it was, has done him good, definitely, as well.
I'm glad we managed to keep hold of him now, because he was going to go, wasn't he?
He was gone, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They wouldn't pay the fee. So.
And then he was back starting for us, mad. So Fisher comes back in now, I guess.
So Fisher will be in the goal for a couple of weeks, I'd imagine. Well, I guess he's got the opportunity to show that he should stay there. We'll see. Yeah, so that was the goalkeeper, isn't it? That's what they're waiting for, and then it's on them to stay.
The problem is, I think his confidence is rock bottom. He came on in the QPR game and dropped a massive clanger, didn't he? Where he passes it to the striker, basically, and he probably should have scored to make it 2-0, which would have wrapped up the game.
Yeah.
But people are already slating him, and his confidence is probably rock bottom at the moment anyway. Don't forget, going back a year ago, he was, amazing, wasn't he? He was played all of last season, didn't he? And he was brilliant, and we beat Cardiff twice, and he was getting all the praises, and so that player is still in there. Let's not jump on him yet.
He's also young as well, to be fair. It's a learning for all of them. He's 24. They're both the same age. 24. So let's just support him. Woodman was the same. He was class, and then you'd have some clangers, and you got all the stick. But you're in Championship for a reason. At the end of the day,
if he goes in,
goalkeepers, Flapianski, remember him?
Yeah,
he had that name for a reason, and he was quality for us. So
let's see what happens. If he goes in and he's awful, then you can criticise him. But let's see what he's going
call out the mistakes, isn't it? But got to learn from him. That's all. Got to give him that opportunity to learn from him. Can't just that's it. You're done. It's not.
We haven't got a choice anyway, because they're not bringing anybody in.
Well, they might. They usually sign a goalkeeper, don't they? So
yeah.
Anyway, we obviously drew the game in the end 1-1. So Jay Felton did score, assisted by Cundle. It was good for him. It was a good little run on. I think it was a 1-2 out wide, maybe with a man in, and then runs in across the box, plays a square on the outside of the box, and Felton placed it to the bottom right corner. Good finish.
Yep. Good from Fulton. No fairness to him. I think it's another one you need to mention this season, because it looked like he was out of the team completely, wasn't it, at one point?
Good mentality to work his way back in, where he basically had a season of being a bit part player, if that.
Yeah, he stuck around. He's been he's our longest serving player now, is he? Probably him and Grimes.
Felton is the longest. I think he was signed before Grimes, and he was signed at was it either Laudrup or Monk? Might have been right at the start of Monk.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we definitely had him in when he was a Scottish pillow.
Yeah.
But I think
it's good.
If you think back to when he got sent off in the playoff final and he was just murdered by everyone for being awful, and then then he got absolutely slated for some other games, and now he's
Still
now
think
he's
that
showing
red
what he
card's
can do.
bullshit, I'm not going to lie.
It was unlucky when he slipped, didn't he?
It's a red card because of the contact that's made, but
Slips, didn't
he I've never seen a more unlucky.
Yeah.
It looked so much worse in real time. When you see the replay and you're like, he's literally slipped, right? He slipped, gone on his ass, and because of the action of doing that, absolutely smashed someone.
Yeah.
Which you've got to send him off for. But it's not like, I don't know, you can't be angry at it, can you? You just can't.
Unlucky.
When you watch that replay, you feel bad for him.
And it wouldn't have changed that game anyway. We're well beaten anyway.
We're 3-0 down. Should have been 4 with that outrageous volley from Tony.
Oh yeah, yeah. That but credit to Fulton for coming back. He's another one. Obviously Bender was out and came back in. Looked like Fulton was going to be going at some point because he wasn't in, and now he's
he had a little stick
staple.
last year, didn't he? The thread on Twitter. Every time Fulton comes on, we lose the game.
You still haven't got over that, have you? You still haven't got over that.
I've just never seen something more outrageous in my life.
Yeah.
It's a joke, isn't it? Honestly, the things some people spend the time and invest time in on Twitter just to prove their point, which is something you can't even prove. Something that's a completely joke. What are you on about? Honestly, what are you on about? Do you actually know anything? I'm not saying I know everything about football, but when you see something like that, you're like, mate. I think
Fulton,
you better stop watching. Go watch some snooker.
I think
like
Fulton,
snooker for the record.
Yeah, I think Fulton would slot into a lot of championship sides as well. I think he's good enough.
Just a grafter, isn't he? He's just a grafter. Yeah. At this level, sometimes you just need grafters.
Yeah.
People who work hard, you can go up. That's how we went up the first time.
It's and I think it's harder to come by those players now who are grafting.
And not after the catch.
There are not many of them players left, I don't think.
The players that are going to make the difference for us right now in terms of being a threat going forward, all are mercenaries. So
yeah, exactly.
It seems. There's obviously a couple of them still in the team. You've got Ollie Cooper, Perot, but the full package of what you can offer as an attacking package, half of it just wants money. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, here's what it is. So that was the game. We did have another goal, but it was disallowed. Perot, a little bit annoying because I feel like he could have made more of an effort to come back on side. He runs in and it's just squares the ball across the box for Cham to tap it in. Maybe it wouldn't have been a goal if he had not been so, that little bit offside. Who knows, isn't it? But it's just frustrating because there was one defender pretty much up there on his own to play him on side, and he still couldn't get on side.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. We've said this before as well. Perot has not been the same this season, has he? Not the heights he was last year. Especially when you watch him play, you can see he just hasn't got that I don't know. He had that. He had that.
People on and not as much as he either.
He had that swagger about him last year, didn't he? Where you think he's a top striker. This guy, he had that edge, didn't he? And he was he just seemed to have it.
Yeah.
And then this
year, we are maybe being a little bit harsh though because we're judging him against what was it last season? 20 what goals? 23, 25, something like that.
I can't remember.
Actually, I can check right now. It was. Oh, sorry,
but he's
22. 22 last
year.
9.
He's got 9, this year.
Which means he's likely to get into double figures.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on course for about 15, and it's only 7 less. Which
I think, but
I
know. Yeah, I know. But you watch him play sometimes.
Yeah,
and he's not in the game.
He doesn't look like you can tell the confidence isn't there, 100%. But I think
the thing is, he's still a good finisher. He's still a great finisher. So if he gets it, but he just doesn't seem to get whether it's the service or whether it's him not making the same runs or having the same interest like he did last season.
Got a year. Patterson had 9 assists last season.
Yeah, that's a big factor.
He hasn't had any this season.
Yeah.
And I think their relationship, most of Patterson's assists probably were for Perot.
Yeah.
And then Perot had 6 himself, which were probably for Patterson.
So again, it's this, the Obafemi and the Patterson situation, which is again costing us on the pitch. And I think, even Obafemi last year, the back end of last season, you would have said if we carried that into this season, we'd have been top 6 contenders. The way that Perot and Obafemi were linking up at the end of the season, like again the Cardiff game in the first part of the Reading game away when we went up, they were unplayable, and then obviously we threw that away. But in terms of going forward, those two together and Patterson were ridiculous. And if they could have kept that up into this season, it'd be a different ballgame.
Yeah, and to just reaffirm as well, I forgot we had Corey Smith here last year. He'd probably be quite useful if we had kept him now, to be honest. Yeah. I understood why we let him go, but I feel like could have used him now, especially after Down's gone and Walsh being injured and all that. Anyway, so yeah, last season, right, as much as I love Matt Grimes, this is what I was going to say. As much as I love Matt Grimes, I think he's an outstanding player, does a fantastic job. 2 assists last season's fine. You know what? I don't think his job is necessarily to be that person getting the assists. Probably you spoke about in that coaching thing you were on about, where his role is a lot more than that. It's for the other guys, the wing backs and guys further
much
forward.
Off the ball.
Yeah, that's more their job, is getting the assists. This season, he's a top assister with 6. Then you go Ryan Manning with 4. So like the one wing back who is actually a wing back is chipping in. Then it's Latabodia, the one who's trying to be a wing back, with 2. So like, okay, fair, he's doing a good effort. But if that's your primary source of creation, you want more than 2 by January, didn't you? End of January, halfway through the season, more than halfway. Yeah. And then you got like Ncham with 2 and Candle with 2. They don't even start half the time, and you wouldn't want them to either. They usually get in these because they're coming on trying to change the game, to be honest. Sorinola with 2, he's on par with the centre back who's playing right back, so says it all. And then they going down to 1. You've got Callan, Cooper, Norton, Wood, Obafemi. Cooper's been amazing, but it just says the difference what we are missing from last year is, I don't even think it's the clinical edge of this the scoring. It's like that final ball is not good enough.
Yeah, you're spot on there. You're spot on. Where you had a Patterson unlocking a defence last year, you had an Obafemi running behind and Perot finding him, or vice versa.
And Grimes this year is getting these assists quite often from a little bit deeper with a nice, good ball, yeah?
Yeah.
Or if he's pushed up a little bit, he's finding someone, whatever. But it shows how instrumental he is, how much he can do it when it's needed. Because I guess last year he wasn't necessarily needing to do that because the guys ahead of him were always in a better place and they're going to play a better ball maybe, but we just seem to be missing that a little bit.
Yeah.
Shame, but we'll see what happens. Let's talk about transfers now. So we've done the game. So there's nothing good to talk about, unfortunately. Nothing that's going to help anything we've just said, which is what we really need. Wing backs, like you said, he's talking about Christian Wolf in this masterclass thing. So wing backs and attackers generally. I want a little bit of pace, but someone that's going to challenge Perot now Obafemi's gone, and someone else is going to do a similar job to what Patterson's doing.
Yeah.
And someone with a little bit of pace, but I'm being greedy because you're not going to get all that. But so I guess you could use a Cullen as the alternate striker if you're going to replace the other options I just said. But anyway, Obafemi is the main talking point. So he has now officially gone, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not good the way this has gone in the end. You're on the 29th of January today when we're recording. We knew this was happening all weekend, I think, but it's been confirmed this morning that he's gone to Burnley on loan. But it's not even like, I don't know the fees. Obviously, you'll probably find them reported somewhere, whether they're accurate or not. They're not on the Swans website. But what it does say is that he's gone to Burnley on a loan deal with an option to buy in the summer. That word option is concerning to me.
It's horrific.
What happens if they don't want him? Oh, he's got attitude. Do you know what? I'm not spending the money on him.
Exactly.
Well, how can he come back now? Like, I just don't. You haven't got anything for him. How do we replace him now? like it's just his wages, if anything. And there probably maybe is a loan fee they might be paying a little bit, like for the duration, a little bit of money there. But what we actually need to rebuild the squad, all these things we've mentioned, need more than just a player's wages off the books and a little bit of a loan fee on the 29th of January. We're not going to get anyone in. We're going to get someone on loan, and it's going to be a 50-50, or they're going to be a hit or miss, like the ones that haven't worked in the last year.
Yeah, but that's all we can do now with this deal. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. We've been shafted again in a way, because all we can do is bring in a loan player. We can't spend that money because it's not been spent, and we don't even know if it is going to be brought in the summer. I don't know whether it's written that if they do go up, they have to buy him, but an option says that obviously they have an option. So,
I mean, they're going to go up a name. So my argument would be, if they go up, they're probably not even going to want him. They probably will.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing it.
Do they want him? Would you have him in the Premiership? Yeah, exactly. Would you have him in the Premiership?
They just signed another striker as well. If this other striker smashes it, and he doesn't,
yeah.
Why do you want to buy him then?
Part of this as well, though, and honest, what we've been talking about is, I think that this whole situation, right? Obafemi, Patterson, and somewhat Whittaker.
Oh dear.
Did that go off then? Why did that cut me off?
I don't know. We went black screen and everything.
Cut me off in mid-flow then.
Because it was the Yanks. They were the year team.
Yeah, it was. Well, I can't remember. I can't remember how far I got, but those three players, Obafemi, Obafemi, Patterson, and I guess a little bit of Whittaker as well. I think those three situations have completely derailed what we were trying to do on the pitch. I think it's having a massive effect on the squad as well now.
But I think also that's clear. Derailed any transfer plans Russell Martin might have had.
Exactly.
October, November, December, right? This is why I need to build my squad. Now it's like, shit, this is what I need to get my squad back to where it was.
And and this is why I hold, maybe not so much Whittaker, we can argue either way, but Obafemi and Patterson, those two individuals are derailing a season for a team.
For derailed us last year as well.
Just being in and out, today I fancy it, today I don't fancy it. Yeah, I want to go. Oh, I'm back in and I'm playing well, like you said. And I think the club might have been forced. Their hand might have been forced that they probably couldn't convince Burnley to buy him now because of his attitude problem. But then Obafemi's shouting from the rooftops like he has to go. So the only way that they could actually get rid of him and sort out the situation was to put him on loan for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I guess it's easy for us to sit here and say we should have sold him for that bigger fee in the summer. But I think the intention, they were playing hardball then, keeping the top player and wanted to use him. So you can't win, can you? You just can't win. If they sold him in the summer, then it's like, well, why are we selling our top players? So,
but this is a wider thing now. Like these players can actually have this power now, and I think you're just seeing it more and more because you've got
Anthony Gordon.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Anthony Gordon refusing to train, and somewhat I don't know if the rumours were true, but I'm sure I read somewhere that Russell Martin said that Whittaker texted him to say that he wasn't in the right frame of mind. I don't know whether that was mind games or whatever to try and get Rangers to pay a bit more, but if that is true, then I just can't get my head around these players. And these players are the future of the game. We're just going to get this more and more. These are all young players. Whittaker, Obafemi, Anthony Gordon.
I don't understand Whittaker's point of view here. I honestly don't get it. I know people are going to cry from the rooftops about what I'm going to say because they love him. And he's been treated like shit, this, that, the other. No, he hasn't. He is not. He's not been treated any different to Ollie Cooper or Liam Cullen. And they're in the team. They recalled him when he started playing well. And they would have used him, and he's saying no. How is that? Yeah, because Rangers are interested now, right? Whatever. He's had a good season. But he's our player. We sent him out there to go and get some experience. He's got that now. He's done well. Okay, he can be useful to us. He wasn't good for us before. You can say whatever you want, but he wasn't. He was not bad, but he didn't do anything special, and he wasn't going to get in the team over other players. So what do? You send him on loan to go and get that experience. It happens to every young player. He's only 22, isn't he?
Yeah.
So what's the issue? What is the issue?
I don't know. I was concerned that they recalled him just to sell him because
I don't think that is the case now. By the look of it,
just to desperately try and recuperate funds for this transfer window because of like the Obafemi and Patterson situation. I think they needed to try and sell players to bring
I
some
genuinely
in.
think they recalled Whittaker knowing Obafemi and Patterson were kicking up a fuss, right? They are two direct competition for him, and Whittaker's playing well, and he is our player. So, like, okay, we do need to replace Obafemi and Patterson, right? They're done regardless whether they're gone or not. They're done. So, hang on, we got him here. We don't actually have to pay for Whittaker. Let's recall him and reintegrate him into the team. He's done what we sent him on loan for. I'm sure there was a conversation when he went to Plymouth, right? You're not going to get that much game time at Swansea this season. These guys are interested in you. Would you like to go? Obviously, you'd be in my future plans if you can show that you should be, I guess. And he's done really well. So, like, he's kicking up a fuss now because we recalled him. Like, it's always on the cards. If you're a loan player, like, it's always on the cards. Morgan Gibbs-White for us, yeah? Conor Gallagher when he went from Charlton to us, whatever. That happens to loan players. Like, they get recalled. Stuff happens. But now he's kicking up a fuss because we've recalled, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And then Rangers are interested. So now he's trying to force through that move. I just don't get it.
And then texting the manager, I'm not in the right frame of mind.
But I don't get a fan base who's just like crying about the way he's been treated. How has he been treated poorly? Like, he just hasn't been played by the manager as much as you want him to be played. But you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I've never seen him as a player that's going to change our game. He's now shown he could be that when he's on loan at Plymouth. We didn't send him on loan at Plymouth, and he's sitting on our bench or playing with our under-23s. You would not think he's good because you don't see him. That's the whole point of going on loan. Literally.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
How did Ollie Cooper become this player?
Yeah.
Because he went on loan to Newport and he smashed it. And now he's got himself into the team and he's smashing it. So Whittaker should have come back after having a good spell because he wasn't amazing when he was on loan last year. He did okay. Same as Cullen, he did okay. Just turns out one of them stayed, one of them went. It might have been the other way around if someone come in for Cullen. Yeah, probably. Just happens to be that Whittaker was the one that someone wanted. And he's done really well. So he should, like Ollie Cooper has, come back now and apply himself to do that here at a higher level. And then maybe in the summer or whatever, maybe someone wants him. Like, someone wants him now, so probably. Like, just irritates me. Why? It's not Martin's fault at all, I don't think.
No, it's not.
You've got the player kicking off like, I don't want to play. He came out in his press conference and was like, yeah, he's going to be in the squad. I want him in my squad. Everyone's like, oh, we brought him back just to sell him. Martin's literally there like, yeah, he's going to be in the squad this week. That's not the case at all. And then Whittaker literally, like, on the same day decides to be like, no, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Why is sticking up for the player? Just saying.
No, I think you're 100% right, and that's what I was touching on. I think those three players in particular have, and the club needs to be protected from this in the future. That three players behaving in the way that they do has ruined our season.
Yeah, just for the record.
And it's like I said, it's affecting
Derby before we bought him. He didn't do anything, and everyone was like, "Why are we spending this money on this kid from Derby who's like fourth choice striker who's rubbish?" That's what the narrative was when Steve Cooper signed him.
Yeah. And then people thought he was the second coming of Messi then.
Because he scored
for some reason
hat-trick against Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah.
Tap-ins.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think, like, more so I was getting frustrated with Russell Martin for a while with tactically, but I think, like, more so in this transfer window, they've absolutely shafted us, these players, and I want them gone. They need to go. These bad eggs in the club, and I just think, how can this be allowed to happen? And it's going to happen further. We said, like, Anthony Gordon, all these are young players. How are they getting away with this? The first thing they do,
it's agents, isn't it? It's the influence of agents.
Yeah, but the first thing that they always do, they delete all their pictures on Instagram. Oh my God, they deleted all their Swan stuff on Instagram. Oh my God, wow, oh my God, you're so brave.
It's the template, though, isn't it? It's the template.
Yeah, delete your stuff.
How'd you get your name out there? The news articles come in because that's what it all generates. They're like,
deleting your stuff on Instagram, then, like, refusing to play. I'm not in the right frame of mind. I'm going to use that one. I am in the right frame of mind to go to work tomorrow.
Well. Yeah.
How can you relate to these players when you go, like, we travel around as much as we can. Like, I try to go to home games. I've got a season ticket. I live quite far away, so it's quite hard for me to get to games sometimes. I'm not asking for a medal. But when you're watching these players then getting paid by the club and like, oh, I don't fancy it today, I want to move. Just like, I can't deal with it anymore. I literally cannot deal with it. Look us in the eye, come out in the press and say, I don't want to be here. don't hide. I seen Obafemi in Cardiff shopping, didn't I?
Yeah, I told you should have gone asked him.
The day after the QPR game, I saw him shopping in Cardiff, and I was literally like, I was just like not starstruck or anything. I was just like, I can't stand you. I just say you're just swanning about here with about 25 shopping bags, picking up your paycheck after we'd just been to QPR away the day before, and you're just not turning up because you want to move somewhere else. Just like I can't relate to this at all.
No.
And I know they're humans, so I'm not going to go to somebody in the street and start slating them like in their private life. But in terms of their job, like I couldn't get away with that in work. I couldn't get away with that. No one else could.
I would rather if they just came out and was honest about it, like.
So would I. Look me in the face, like not like me in particular, but just come out and say, like, look, I want to move to Burnley.
Yeah, okay.
I was gutted I didn't move in the summer. I wanted to move.
Well, if you just said that in the summer, we could have not been here right now.
Just fucking deleting stuff on Instagram and then just not playing, and then Whittaker's texting his boss, by all accounts, to say he's done fancy it today.
But I would say, as a club, then buy in. Why do you think I want to buy that player?
I think it's just the way football. I think it's just the way football is going. There are probably a lot of players that are the same. But I think in particular, we've just had it at the moment where, and I just don't mind, because they are derailing our season. Because like you said, Russell Martin can't make any transfer plans, and I think that's coming out in his press conferences because he's just saying now, he's just like, I don't even think he can be bothered to talk about it. He just keeps saying, it's unlikely that we bring anybody in. Let's just get on with it. Because he can't do anything until these get off the books.
And we missed out on that Gerhardt, who's gone to Sunderland, probably because of this. So
yeah, because Obafemi was still knocking about, and they, you can't really put the deal in until he's gone. I don't know.
Did he even get enough from him going to cover it?
Yeah, it's a shame in a way, though.
All his wages, you don't even know, do you? So,
and it's even more frustrating because if you think how good Obafemi has been when he has played well, you think like he's a great player, and like he scored, like he done the double over Cardiff. He did that amazing game in Cardiff away last year. I just think you're the hallmarks of a great career. Yeah? Even if he carried on and played well for like another 2 seasons, and then somebody came in and he went, you think, yeah, fair enough, he's done great. But now, like, I have no like good feeling towards him at all now.
Yeah,
whatever he's done,
and it's going to be tricky for him to break in at Burnley. I think they've already top goal scorers in the league. Like,
yeah,
he's going to have to hit the ground running. Ian Mitchell and Moore is reporting that they have option to buy, but structure of the deal effectively guarantees the move will be made permanent in the summer. But there's no like detail on what that means.
Yeah,
maybe it is like the promotion thing, but
yeah, and again on a wider scale, like I guess you could bounce this back to the last like 5 or 6 transfer windows. We've come on and done the videos for a couple of years now, haven't we? And every transfer window, we're worse off at the end. The squad just keeps diluting and diluting and diluting, and we rely on managers like Russell Martin to do well in the situation.
He's doing the job with his hands tied behind his back constantly.
Yeah,
you think you can only play, but then another one like he gets tied back there. I've got a picture up of Obafemi in his shirt. His new shirt. Trying to see if there's any extra information. Apparently, yeah, the Wales Online reporting is understood as virtually certain that it would be made permanent in the summer, but I don't know what the details are.
Doesn't help us now, does it?
If he is made permanent in the summer, it's expected to be worth up to $4 million.
But that doesn't help us now, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Like in the like, how can you plan? I don't know. I guess you can plan for the summer, but
following his switch to Turf Moor, Obafemi stated he was determined to get his switch to Lancashire after being unable to join in the summer. I'm glad to be here. It's been a busy few days, but I am just glad that it's finally done now. When I first heard of Burnley's interest in the summer, I was adamant to come here. Obviously, it didn't happen then, but now I'm here and I just can't wait to play in the claret and blue. 15 goals and 52 appearances for Swansea.
Yeah, 15 goals and 52 appearances and 3 Strops. Yeah.
I'd give it a year now, and you'd be happy to join some team playing in blue and white.
Yeah, Cardiff probably.
There we go. See. Hopefully that's the last we see of him, I guess.
Yeah,
just looking at Twitter, all the comments. Right to sell. Obafemi has been a brat. Fee is poor based on ability, but understandable with the circumstances. Shame how it ended. Such a good trajectory, on course to get 20 goals and a bigger move next summer. With 12 months on deal, but Burnley is still good and guaranteed Premier League. Pay him more, probably.
Oh well.
There we go. Literally, it's all over Twitter.
I won't say any more on that now. Just, I don't know what's happening with Patterson. I don't think he's going. I was
going to say Patterson. Like, it's just gone quiet, and it probably a deadline day thing.
He's on 2 stops now as well.
Obafemi turning his comments off on Instagram.
Oh, he's on just stuff, the Instagram stuff. Like, I don't care.
You're that bothered about it then? Maybe you shouldn't have made all the Swans fans feel like you were going to stay. You just come out in a press conference and said, I wanted to come in the summer, didn't happen, now I'm happy I'm here. And then you're scoring against West Brom, tapping a badge and doing a little dance. Just don't do it. Just score and go back to play.
Yeah.
Luton have also made an approach for Josh Key from Exeter. Oh, he's out of contract in the summer. This guy is that we're looking at from Luton. Not Luton.
Right, okay.
So we can't do it because we're in the same country. But the rule is obviously with the Bosman or whatever it's called, 6 months before the end of your contract. So if you run out in the summer from now, other countries' clubs can already negotiate a contract. Free transfer. We are not allowed. So that's why we got to pay now still. Apparently he's got multiple offers from overseas clubs. So they're probably trying to get him on the cheap, aren't they? Because if his contract's run out in the summer, but our fee's still been rejected so far. Be good to get it right back.
Yeah, massive.
Even if we don't replace Obafemi, I think it's progress if we can get a permanent right back in. That's going to actually do a decent job, you know.
I think so. We've been unlucky because I think we've had. I know people keep throwing out the stat that we haven't signed a right back since Norton in whatever it was, 2015. I don't know. I'm guessing. I can't remember. But that's why, because we signed Kyle Norton has been good since then, so we haven't needed to sign another one.
Yeah,
and in that time,
while we had Rangel.
Yeah, exactly. So we signed him while we had Rangel, and then Connor Roberts breaks through. So we haven't needed to sign a right back until the last 2 seasons. So it's a bit of a stupid stat, really, but we do desperately need a right back now.
When we got relegated, we had Roberts and Norton, didn't we? So
yeah,
that's a good pair of right backs for the Championship.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's only since Norton got converted to a centre back at pretty much the same time Roberts has gone.
Yeah, the problem is when Connor Roberts got sold to Burnley, we've never brought in another one really.
Yeah, but that's when we converted Norton as well, isn't it? Or just before?
Yeah.
So just 2 things happened at the same time, and then we're short all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate that we'll do anything major in this window. With 2 days left, maybe Patterson might go on deadline day if interest comes in again. Otherwise, how do you integrate him back into the team?
How do you integrate Whittaker back in now as well?
Well, I think Whittaker needs to go. I think if they've offered 2 million, which is what's been reported, I'd be taking it. And then we need to build again. We need to start again like we do all the time.
They've signed Todd Cantwell, have they, Rangers already?
Have they? It's a good signing.
I'm just having a look to see if I saw that they were looking at up in the bid for Whittaker, but I don't know what.
Do we want to integrate these players back in the team though?
Oh, we don't have a choice, do we? If they're still here. Well, I think Whittaker.
Put him in the under 23.
I feel like you're going to have to try, but Patterson, for as far as I'm concerned, just leave him on holiday.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about the Whittaker stuff, but I just we're only one in. Would you bring in if like Perot or Cullen gets injured or both of them?
Yeah,
Congreve and Josh Thomas, is it? Who's never played first team game.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, and it's not up to the question for an injury, like we're short. We are short. We are an injury away from being screwed in certain positions.
Yeah.
Centre back and centre mid's probably the best.
Yeah, touch wood. Like, but touch wood, for the love of God, if like Grimes gets injured and Perot.
Yeah.
What do we do?
All right, so the last things to perhaps touch on. I say touch on because it's just talk, yeah. There's nothing concrete. Maybe we'll have some action in the next 2 days now, going into the end. There is a chance that something happens. Ashley Barnes and Cornick from Luton Town are the two names that are being linked now. Ashley Barnes from Burnley, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you reckon maybe that's part of the discussions with this Obafemi deal?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, but it's really not what we need, is it?
He's not part of the deal, clearly, because I've been announced at the same time.
Yeah, but like I think Ashley Barnes has been a good player for Burnley. He gets goals, but again, you listen to that Russell Martin thing. He where he wants pace is the 9 or the middle to drag defenders around. That's what the play he's hoping for, and it allows then like Cooper or if Patterson was there to go into the space.
Yeah.
Now, like we haven't got that at the moment. Like Perot has not ever been blessed with pace, has he really? And Cullen, it's not. He hasn't got. He's quite sharp, like sort of in close, tight areas, but not like I don't think he's that fast. Like one-on-one with someone. We're desperate for a bit of pace up front.
Yeah, I think they're both just names that maybe they're both available, and that's where we are.
We just need cover. Yeah, I get you right. At this point, we probably just need bodies desperately, just like we said, in case we get injuries.
Fit in necessarily to what the ideal.
Yeah, no, you are right. It's a patch job, isn't it? Just because, like we said, like these players are forcing our hands, and we just need cover for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
can't do any long-term planning.
Exactly. You got anything else to add to any of that you want to say before we call it?
No, I've depressed myself now. The transfer window is going to be awful. Let's just get rid of this season again. It's another season to write off, I think. Yeah. Unless they pull out something ridiculous out of the bag in the last 2 days, but maybe David and Gog will come back on loan.
Schechter
back on loan. Get the band back together.
Yeah, well, now we get Tiendali in right back.
Tiendali in right back. Get him in.
Bessoni might do a job as well.
Yeah, get him. We need full back, so we'll have Tiendali back in for sure. He'll do a job.
Yeah.
Schechter up top.
Maybe he'd score in the championship. Oh, he did score against Wigan.
Yeah. Class.
Okay. Anyway, that's been another podcast. So thank you everyone who came along and listened this far. Obviously, we really appreciate everyone.
It wasn't a very upbeat one, really, was it?
No, it got more downbeat as we went on. So still with us, fair play. Appreciate it. But that is where we are at the moment, isn't it? We can't lie. So,
it is. Yeah, no, that is where we are.
Can't lie about it. It's just see what happens now. Hopefully next week's one will be better because we'll have some new faces to talk about. If we don't, well, there's no other chance, is there? The next time you see us on the podcast, it either has happened or we haven't got half a team. So we'll see where we are next week in this. So hopefully it'll be smiley faces. But yeah, cheers for joining us as always. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment underneath about your thoughts on the situation in the transfer window with these players, the dramas, Obafemi, Whittaker, Patterson specifically. What are your thoughts on them? Can they come back into the team, the ones that are still here? Are you done? Like, just get them out at all costs. Let us know. And we shall catch you in the next video. So thanks for joining me, Lee.
No worries.
And we shall see you next week. Have a good one.